Hello everybody, and as you can tell from the scene behind me, this week I have managed to get this set up in St Kentigern's. So I hope you're having an okay time and aren't too fed up with the whole situation. This week's reflection is based on our gospel reading, which is the saying about Jesus being the way, the truth and the life. One of my favourite hymns or carols or folk songs, however you want to describe it, is the one which is "This is the truth sent from above." I think most of you will have heard me sing it in church at one of our carol services, or possibly in place of a sermon from the pulpit. This is the truth sent from above, the truth of God, the God of love. Therefore don't turn me from your door, but hearken all, both rich and poor. I'm not going to sing the rest of it today, but that first verse is the one which keeps running through my head as I have been trying to prepare this reflection. We live in a society today where truth seems somewhat of a variable commodity, a world of alternative facts. So instead of saying I lied or I didn't tell the truth, we hear I misspoke. Sometimes these are deliberate strayings away from the truth, and sometimes it is something different. I was discussing with a friend the other day the various things I had read in the news this week. And despite the fact that he had read the same papers and listened to the same news broadcasts, he had no recollection of reading or hearing most of the things I was speaking about. So, for instance, I'd read an article talking about how the imposed lockdown of the coronavirus was leading, in some cases, to more rested new mothers, to babies who were regaining their baby weight more quickly, and so on. I'd also registered an article about recovery rates for coronavirus sufferers and how society would need to continue to support them in their journey of recovery. His memory of the news was predominated by the numbers of deaths and by the fact that PPE that had arrived from Turkey was found to be mostly not fit for purpose. We could have been listening to completely different news programs. When we speak about the truth, whose truth are we speaking about? Because no matter if we are listening to and reading this and hearing the same things, our perception of reality is shaped by our personality, our background, and our experience. We are all different people. We focus in on different things. So, what is the truth? How do we get under the layers of personal prejudice and experience to honesty? The first step is perhaps acknowledging where we come from and what has shaped us so far. This helps us realise why some events have an impact on us and others don't. Our own personal history leads to bias, positive or negative, and this affects not only how we read and react to the news, or the statements of politicians, or the statements of scientists, but also applies to how we respond to the teachings of Jesus in the Bible, or as those teachings are expressed by the church. If Jesus is the truth, what is that truth? What is it about him that makes him the key to living life in all its fullness? When we read his teachings, what do we see? What do we hear? What image comes to mind? Is it to you, Jesus, the peacemaker, the peacekeeper? Does he bring calm and quiet, rest to the restless, comfort to those who are mourning? Or is it Jesus the revolutionary? Does he stir things up and create trouble? Does he disturb and challenge? Are his teachings like a crumb stuck in one's throat, unpalatable and rather hard to swallow at times? None of these ways of seeing him is inherently wrong, but it is important to ask why you see him as that. What is it deep inside you that is driving that picture? What deep desire is being expressed? My image of Jesus tends to be that of Jesus as a revolutionary, stirring things up, proclaiming justice, mercy, and equality for all. Inside me is a burning desire to level out the injustices in our society, to preach justice and mercy, to raise up the poor and lowly, to stand and spit out words which would ignite a fire in the hearts of the people, to see this place, this land, a land of equality, of love, and of mercy. Yet I must balance that with an equal calling and vocation to calm, to bring peace, to bind up the broken-hearted, to comfort those who mourn. This is my truth, and it feeds into what I say and do, into how I live out my life and vocation as a Christian. What is your truth? What is your God? Who is your God? When you speak of Jesus being the way, the truth, and the life, what does that mean for you? What are you declaring about your God? Jesus' statement about being the way, the truth, and the life must be combined with the rest of his teaching, especially the commandment he gives to love the Lord your God with all your heart and mind and soul, and love your neighbour as yourself. What does your truth look like in comparison with that command? If it doesn't reflect that, then perhaps you have a bit more thinking to do about what living in truth truly means.